Hello, welcome to another video. Today we've got the Jag in the workshop. It's actually sat outside my workshop for about 3 months. There is a reason for that. Down the back here we've had a coolant leak. I noticed that when I was driving home I was getting a lot of, pretty much every drive I was getting low coolant level. Topped it up before I drove here, and as you can see the level is well below the minimum. Which is not a good thing. So the only thing I can think of that can cause the coolant to leak down the back of the bell housing is one of the pipes below the supercharger. Perfect opportunity to have my supercharger rebuilt. I know the vanes are the coating's a bit flaky, a bit knackered. So probably get a smaller supercharger pulley put on at the same time, full rebuild. Just got to find someone who can do it. So first thing I need to do, obviously all the intake's got to come off. My Land Rover intake has got to come off. If you haven't seen the video actually for how I made this custom intake, check out this video here. But first thing I'm going to do I think is take the wipers off, take the scuttle panel off, take that brace off and get the intake out. So we've got scuttle panel off, wipers off, the strut brace off, airbox is undone. I've undone, there's a Jubilee down the back here, I'll show you when this is off, and then it's just held on a stud at the bottom down here. So lift the back off, slide it forwards, and it should come off. There we go. Oh, just unplug airflow meter. There we go. So there's your adapter piece there, which goes onto the throttle body out the back there. What you will spot is that what I have been doing, you can see I've done it along here with these T20 Torx screws, because it's going to be a few weeks probably before I put this all back together. Where possible, I do like to put screws and bolts and nuts back in where they came from, so that I know exactly where. It takes a little bit longer, but obviously I then know exactly where everything goes when it comes to putting it all back together. The next step then will be to take this elbow off here. So I'm not sure if I've got to take, I think I had to take this, I think it's like a water jacket off to get the supercharger off, because it won't go underneath. Which means I've got to take the Coolant Reservoir off as well. But yeah, as far as this intake goes, once I've got this, I might do this bit next just so I can show you how bad the supercharger is. But again, you've got a clip down here, like a washing machine clip. And then I think we'll probably undo from here. So you've got 4 10mm nuts, and then you've got 4 8mm screws or bolts going in down through the bottom, which go into the top of the supercharger. Alright, so I've undone these 10mm bolts at the back here, because these ones are studs. So if I undid these nuts, I'd still never get this out. So as these ones are bolts, screws, take them out. Haven't undone the back yet. Just noticed that the cooling system is linked to it. So this is the top bleed screw, which we'll get to in part 2 of this video when we put it all back together. I do need to take this water jacket housing type thing off. I think the thermostat's in. I think that's thermostat housing there. So the Coolant Reservoir needs to come out. So these clips are incredibly annoying. I tend to just use some water pump pliers where possible. Give that clip a bit of a wiggle, and that pipe should just pull off. If they are a bit tight like that, they don't want to come off, you can gently twist them just to break the seal. There you go, like that, and then they'll just pull off. Like so. I have got a drip tray underneath here, so at some point when coolant goes everywhere, it should just go into a drip tray. Same with that. If I just gently twist that, it should, there you go, break the seal. And then, nope, not quite broken the seal enough. This one is tight. There we go. Starting to go. Now these coolant, don't be too worried if any of these hoses, these outlets snap off. The coolant reservoirs on these cars are common for cracking. I think the seams go around the edge. So I will decide later on whether I want to replace mine or not. I'll have a look at it when it's off. So that late model screw there. That's the next one. And when we lift it up, there's another hose at the bottom of the reservoir. So there is one screw holds the reservoir in, and then it sits in the locating pin just there, if you can see that. So if I lift this side up and wiggle it, it should come out of there. There we go. And then just about make it down the bottom there. There's a clip that sits in the hose like that, so you have to push the clip that way, and then the hose will pop off. And then we'll get coolant all over the floor. Unless I've aimed my drip tray well, we shall see. I'm going to need 2 hands for this, so I'll take this off and then show you the horrendous array of pipework that Jaguar thought was a good idea. Now the reservoir's out of the way, I can show you a couple of things. So there is also a coolant level sensor, which is well, technically it's the thing that saved my engine, and that's what caused the light to come on, so the coolant level was low. This clip that I'm putting in here, there you go. So normally it would go there, it flung off. So that's in the released position, so you can pop it off the reservoir, and that's in the locked position. So that's how that stays on there. As you can see, all you can see now is coolant hoses. Coolant hoses everywhere. Yeah, a lot of these have got to come off. I've got to take them off, take the coolant hoses off the charge coolers, take the big main one off of the bleed screw. Obviously all the ones on this water jacket have got to come off. So my next task is undo all of this lot. From memory, I'm trying to remember how this attaches. I will remove some hoses and come back to you, because it is screwed on somewhere, it is solid, and I'm sure I will remember when all the hoses are out of the way. Right, most of the hoses are out of the way. Like I said, top radiator hose I've undone from there, bottom one is undone. These ones here I've left attached. They pretty much sit in place where they're supposed to go. Tuck that back down there, and then the two outer ones for the charge coolers I've tucked over there. This one here can come off with this hose, and this one here, which you can see, if I zoom in a bit, you can see it's swelled up. This is another fairly old looking hose. This I'm now suspecting is the culprit. So it runs underneath the, well, sort of in the middle of the V there, and it comes down the back here and goes down there. Now I can't see where it goes to, what condition it's in, but looking at that bulge, something what they look like before they pop. So if it started leaking on the other end, that would explain why I've got coolant going down the side of the bell housing. So this is held on by, there's a torque screw there, I think it's probably a T30. There's also one below it, and if I come over this side, there's another one there, and another one below it. So 4 torque screws. That whole pipe should come off once I've got another big hose here to disconnect, and that one there. I'll add that to my parts list, which I am making. A few little bits and pieces that I want to order. Right, so all 4 of the T30s are out. I've undone this clip here. It's not really enough room to push the hose off, so I'm hoping if I give this a bit of a wiggle, we might be able to just pull that hose clean off of there, a bit like that. There we go, it does come off. It does come off, but there we go. That's the thermostat housing. Yeah, you can see thermostat in there. So thermostat housing, water jacket, and a hose. Notice this is not the hose I pointed out earlier, but this one's also swollen. So I can see me having to go for all of the hoses. You can see there's a lot of dried up coolant down here. I wonder if that hose has actually split. Doesn't look split, but something has clearly leaked down into there. It's not nice. So yeah, supercharger pulley has got to come off next then, which is a case of, I think, levering on this tensioner here. That there is not the tensioner. Tensioner is, so I can prop the light somewhere. Tensioner is there and has, I don't think you won't be able to see in the camera, but it's got a looks like a 1/2 inch drive there. So it'll be a case of putting a a bar or a ratchet or something in there and levering the tension off to pull the belt off. Interested in what that drives actually. Could just be an idler, I suppose. Now, so we're all undone here. Just wanted to point out this pipe here, which is for boost. It tells the ECU how much boost it's making. These are prone to popping off. This one has popped off a couple of times for me, and then you lose all boost. But that is now out. Be careful not to lose the screws from that. They do tend to sit in there quite well. There's also a gasket on here which I replaced last time this was all apart. Probably replace again. Now, if I turn the supercharger, you can see that the coating has started coming off. Yeah, it's there as well. We've got a bit of oil in there as well, which is interesting. That's not good. You can hear that knock as well. There's a little bit of play. There's a joiner inside here, and it's like a cross. I think it's plastic or nylon or something. They are also known for wearing out, which can cause a bit of a noise. So when this is rebuilt, we'll just get the whole lot done in one hit. A few things left to do then. Yeah, we've got this bolt here, screw holds this wiring loom in. Be careful of this pipe. This is a breather, comes from here, goes into the back of the throttle body. Now last time I had to undo the throttle body from the supercharger before removing it, and I can't remember why. So I'm going to have a go at taking it all off as one and see where I get to. I'm not sure if it was because I was leaving the supercharger in or I was trying to leave the throttle body in or something. I'm not sure. I'll try it, and when I get to the point where I think, that's why I did it before, I'll let you know. I think we're kind of there or thereabouts. There's, what are they, 10mm? I think they're 10mm bolt screws down there. If I come around this side, not sure what else we've got. Can't see anything down there. I'll grab my light. It's definitely not held on with just 2 bolts. I think this is why I had to take the throttle body off, was because the other 2 bolts are, I can see, yes they are below it. So all of this lot here has to come off, all of this, which doesn't sound too bad, except there are the screws. So throttle body off, that gives access to the screws there. Right, I can't really show you what I'm doing right now, but I am undoing the EGR valve. So I've got It's a 1/4" ratchet, 10mm socket. If I put a little light down there, so you've got 2 bolts that go in that way into the EGR valve, which is this unit here. And then if I move the light down here, you can just about, if I move the camera, you can just about make out a rusty pipe going onto the exhaust, about there. There's 2 10mm nuts on that, which I'm really hoping come undone. That means I won't have to take the elbow off the back of the supercharger. And you've got 2 bolts at the front, which are very long. I've already undone them. These ones. And on the back, underneath this elbow where the throttle body lived, there's one, I think it's a 10mm, I'll check in a moment, bolt that goes down, but the supercharger has like a V cutout in it. So if you undo the nut, just sort of crack it off, the supercharger should come forwards and basically unhook from that bolt. And then we're out. So fingers crossed, hope and pray that this EGR valve comes undone all right. I've cracked off the 2 bolts going into the like throttle elbow, the bit the throttle body sits on. Not too sure about the ones on the exhaust. They don't look that great, but you know, if they snap, then I've got a couple of weeks to sort it out. Right, finally, oh, she is out. That's heavy. Oh, right. There you can see the little cutout. If I grab a light. Didn't end up, you can see the bolt actually at the back there in the middle. I didn't end up taking that elbow off. It still appears to be held in somewhere at the back, so I'll worry about that later because I do want to take that off and clean that up. So here we have the middle of the V. Annoyingly, no obvious leak, so I think I'm gonna have to pull that elbow off at the back, which I'll probably do next week, and have a better look down the back, see where the leak's coming from. In terms of other parts, I think I'm probably just going to go with every single hose I can get hold of. I think it's worth doing it all now rather than later. I'm still not sure where this leak has come from. Although having said that, this pipe here is pink and crusty there, so maybe replacing that pipe will fix that problem. Might even be a bit of corrosion I can clean up. This pipe in the middle here is the one that commonly fails, and I have replaced this one, so that should all be good. So there we go. That is how to remove the supercharger from a 4.2 litre Jaguar V8. If you like the video, hit the thumbs up. Think about subscribing, especially if you want to see part 2 of this video where I put the supercharger back together with clean, shiny, upgraded, probably painted parts as well. Yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.